Hello there friends, it's Cassie. Welcome back for another video here on my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be playing with some of the Spellbinders club kits. I'm going to be sharing the wax seal of the month, and I'm also going to be sharing the stencil of the month. I know typically I have a lot of other ones that I show, but for the next few months these are the two that I'm going to be sharing. So if you are interested at all in these, this is the place to be. So this is this wax seal of the month. And it came with, or at least mine came with, some royal blue wax beads. We also have the stencil of the month. There are 5 stencils in this one. I don't know if that's pretty typical or not, because I've only gotten them for I think 2 months now, but I've been very happy with both of them that I have received. And I just love stencils because I feel like you can make fairly quick cards and it takes away all the thought, really. You don't have to think about it too much other than colors, which can be the best part, really. So I've got a piece of cardstock that measures 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. That's what works best with these stencils because there are some little embossed edges right at the base of those where I've got my cardstock lined up. That makes it super simple to line up all of your stencils. And so you definitely want to have your cardstock measure to 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. You can always trim it down later if you'd like to. So I'm going to start with some Distress ink. This is the color Prize Ribbon, and I've got my blending buddy, and I'm using a little bit of like masking tape to mask off areas because I just don't want to get those colors mixed up. And then I'm going to bring in some Rustic Wilderness for my green. And then those are the colors we're primarily going to use today. When I do the kits, and I'm putting them all in one video, I like to stick to a certain color combination. So this is what we're going to be using today. And I was obviously inspired by those royal blue wax beads. All right, so now we're bringing in the second stencil, and you'll see this one has some words on it. It says, "Hello, lovely." We are going to use those words. Another stencil has a different set of words on there. It says, "For you," but we're going to use the "Hello, lovely." I don't have to do any masking on this one, and I'm going to keep using that Prize Ribbon for our flower petals. You could obviously do up some different colors if you wanted to, but I'm going to stick to that. And then I'm going to bring in some black soot for the words "Hello, lovely." And I think that's a really sweet sentiment. I'm definitely having to restock a lot of my cards this, thank yous and just like regular thinking of you. And I think that this is going to be a good one for that. All right, so we've got our "Hello, lovely." Then we're going to take this stencil off and bring in our third stencil. See, look at how cool that looks. And this is going to just add some veins to the petals. And then you'll see at the bottom, that's where it says "For you." But we obviously won't be doing that one. So I've lined it up again. And I'm using my Tonic platform. I love the Tonic platform for my stencils. I'm sure there are other great options out there. This is what I have, and I really do love it. I'm looking into potentially getting a white glass mat down the line. So stay tuned for that. It just, other expenses with Christmas and other things, so it's on the back burner for now, but for sure it is hopefully sometime this year. All right, bring in that fourth stencil. It's a lot more leaves, and then the center of our flower. I'm going to be really careful, or at least try to be careful not to get too much in that center. I do end up getting a little bit of green in there, and once again we're using that Rustic Wilderness for these leaves. And I'm not really that worried that some of it did get up in the center because I'm going to be using an orangish yellow color for the center, and then where that green is kind of in there, it's gonna almost look a little bit brown, which I think looks good with our center and our blue. So this is some, I want to say it's mustard seed. No, it was honey, something honey. I'll have it listed down below, but I think that looks good. And then we're bringing in our fifth and final stencil, and we're lining that up just the same way we have with the other ones. But this time I decide, instead of using Rustic Wilderness, I'm going to bring in some Mowed Lawn for that one. So it's just a little bit brighter green, a little bit more yellow green. And that way it adds a little bit of variation with those petals, or the leaves. I wiped off my blending buddy a little bit there, but for the most part I have a color, or a blending buddy for each of my color families. So I do have a green one, I have a blue one, turquoise, orange, yellow, red, pink, purple, brown, gray, white, and black. Yes, I have that many. It just makes it easier. I'm not the best at cleaning all of my supplies, so. And then we'll do the center just with the black to bring in that Hello Lovely again. And I really like how that turned out. You have this beautiful card panel. And if you wanted, stencils making one layer cards super simple. You could just do it right on the base. I'm going to trim this down though. So we're going to trim it down to 4 inches by 5 1/4. So that basically just takes off 1/4 of an inch total on the top and the bottom, or I mean the top and the side. And then I'm going to attach this down to a royal blue card base. And I will come in and do a little bit of splatter later, but I really like how that turned out. Such a simple, pretty card and a super easy mailer. Okay, so now we're bringing in our wax seal of the month. And as you can see, it says made with love. I don't know if you're going to get the same color of wax beads as I do, but I like to put them inside these sealed containers by Spellbinders. And you can kind of rearrange those little pieces around. Not all of them move, but most of them do. And you can, and they're super cheap. They're like under $3, which I think is great. Now I put them into 4 of those slots, but you could very easily fit them into 3. I do that in another video. Yeah, so you could put a total of 5 of your new packs in there if you really wanted to. Or you could do 5 of these wax seals if you wanted to. And so this wax seal obviously comes with a handle, and it comes with the seal itself. And those can twist off of there. So you can just put the bottom of the seal inside there. Or in this case, I am going to take out, well, you can't take out that one. A couple of those are actually in there just to let you know. I think that keeps it from falling apart. But you can't put it in there without taking the bottom off of the handle. But just like that, you could easily have 5 of those in there. So I really like these containers. They work really well. And they don't take up a lot of space. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in the wax seal kit that Spellbinders came out with a while ago. But before I do that, I do want to show you that I'm just going to label my royal blue. I want to make sure that I remember what the colors are. You wouldn't have to do this, but I do like organization. Now, if you looked at my room right now, you'd just be like, wow, no, you don't. But I really do. My desk might be messy, but behind me, I have things fairly organized. I printed it a little too big, so we're going to print it a little bit smaller. And I got this Brother label maker, I don't know, about 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, and it works really great. So if I can find it, I'll have it linked down below. So I'm going to trim that down and then peel off the backing, and I can easily just stick this right over the top of where the royal blue is. What I like about these labels is you can take them off fairly easily. They don't just like fall off, but if I need to change that out later, I can, and it's not going to ruin my container. So this was the wax seal kit I was talking about. This is by Spellbinders. It comes with a little mat. It's like a silicone mat. It also comes with your holder, and it comes with your, I guess for lack of a better word, your wax bead spoon. I like to start, well, I typically like to actually start with 5, but I'm doing 4 this time just to show you. And I didn't clean out my spoon from before. Now, that little holder was meant for like a tea light, but I don't like to have an open flame in my craft room for a couple of reasons. 1, I have cats. 2, there's a lot of paper in here. So the idea of an open flame just doesn't work for me. It makes me very uncomfortable. So you can use your heat tool. And so that's what I'm doing, just kind of going back and forth on the top and the bottom of the spoon. And yes, it gets very hot, but this works just fine. And then I don't have to worry about an open flame because I'm also kind of forgetful and I don't want to walk away with an open flame going. All right, so I've poured the wax onto my mat, and it did have some residual color from before because, like I said, I don't always clean out my spoon. Sometimes I like that variation of the color. So I'll pull this away. It didn't do perfectly, but just to give you an idea of how that looks, and it does have some like little gold swirl in there. We're going to do another one. So I'm heating that up, top and bottom. And yeah, but again, it's made for a tea light under there. And if you are good with that, I say go for it. All right, so now I'm going to just pour that out again. And 4 seems to be pretty good here now. and we'll put our wax seal just right over the center of it. And you can always use a baby wipe to wipe things up. And I like to let that sit for a few seconds while it settles and hardens up. And then we'll do another one. So I'll put 4 more in there. And this one turned out really good. So I really like that one. We're going to set that one off to the side. And we'll heat another one. And I'm going to show you here, this one doesn't turn out very good. So I'll show you what you can do. But we're going to heat that up again. Pour it down. And you'll also notice the way I pour is, you know, just kind of stay to one central location. And then once you get it going, I kind of move my spoon around to try and even that out. Then we'll set that right on top. And you can see it settles off to the edge. And here's where I'm just showing you with a baby wipe, you can easily wipe your spoon out. No problem. Easy peasy. So once I pull that away, I'm like, ooh, that looks terrible. It's very thick on the edges, or at least this one edge, and then the other doesn't look so good. So I'm actually just going to cut that up and stick that right back inside of my spoon. And then we'll reheat that again, and we can try again. I don't know if there is like a limit on how often you could heat these up if need be, but I assume it isn't probably, and they are only about 4 beads, so it's not that big of a deal if you don't love it. But I did want to show you that you can reheat it and try again. So here we go. And this one turns out better for sure. All right, being very careful to try and stick that in the middle. There was a bubble, so I'm trying to pop it. And then once I pull that away, you'll see that it looks pretty good. Okay, so now I want to bring in this little gold pen. Spellbinders carries these in the store also. It's a gold paint pen, and mine is brand new, so I'm going to have to really shake it up and then activate it at the tip. And all you need to do to activate it at the tip is to push down a bunch of times until you can see that gold paint coming into the tip. So we're going to get ready, and I'm going to show you on all 3 of these how that looks. Well, at least I'll show you on one, and then you'll see at the end. So all I'm doing is basically lightly rubbing that over the part that's raised. And again, this is made with love, and there's a little heart. And then I will show you close up what it looks like with the gold and what it looks like without. I think they look fine either way, but I really do like how the made with love is enhanced with the gold as compared to just by itself, but either way is just fine. So take a look at that. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? Okay, so I'll do it on all 3, and one of them I'll even do the edge, and then we'll decide which one we want to use for our card. But I'm happy with those. I think that's really pretty. I've decided this one's going to be the one, and I'm going to trim this down just like I did the previous card. And yes, obviously I used my stencil again, this time switching up the colors with yellow and blue. And once again, it's 4 inches by 5 1/4 after everything's trimmed down. And we have another blue card base. So I will bring that in after I do a little bit of splatter, because here's where I was like, you know, I want to step it up a notch. So I've got some gold splatter or gold paint that I just put a little bit of water in, and I'm splattering that all over that background, because if you watch me at all, splatter in my world makes everything better. Covers a multitude of mistakes for sure. All right, so we'll just glue this down to the front of our card base. And then I'm going to glue down our wax seal to the front as well and save those other 2 for something else. But I love how that looks on the front of the card. It's so pretty. The wax seal of the month and the stencil of the month, they are wonderful together. So if you like this video, be sure to hit that like button. Definitely consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. And if you're interested in any of this, I'll have it linked down below. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you soon.